monitoring. And once I retire, which I will have to one day, then Adar will have to also take that mantle on his head.
How are you grooming Adar?
That was the first question Bill Gates asked me when I met him a few months again, that I hope after you the company will not go into wrong hands because we're depending on you for low-cost, high-quality vaccine, which could otherwise be exploited by Big Pharma. And he took assurance from Adar that not only won't sell off, but he'll continue my philanthropic policy and take the company to regal heights.
How do you perceive the future for Serum Institute?
Well, obviously it's a very bright future, but we have to keep on top of R&D to see that all the newer vaccines that are being launched by Big Pharma in the US, we are also not very far behind, like pneumococcal vaccine, rotavirus vaccine, the human papilloma vaccine, and dengue or whatever other vaccines, encephalitis vaccine. So that meningitis, which we have already launched, but we want to improve on that. If we don't do that, then there is a dim future. If we keep up to it, and if Adar wants to even acquire biotech companies and stay focused on his core sector, then Serum will continue to be even a bigger global player than it is today.
Has Adar come forth with any vital or innovative inputs of his own?
Yes, tremendous. We are on the verge of acquiring a company that manufactures polio vaccine in Holland, and he has spent the whole week there. And I deliberately let him go instead of me so that he, stands on his own feet in evaluating the company.
Coming back to your wife, Dr. Poonawalla, what was the last year like without Vilu around?
Well, I really missed her much more than I did. It's a tremendous lesson for all those who take their wives for granted. And when she went, there was such a vacuum, I really didn't think that it would affect me. But it did affect me, and therefore the pomp and gaiety that we've been doing at the Poonawalla Million and the SA Poonawalla has been markedly lacking, and that's what, because there's been a very low-key event in mark of honor of our departure.
How do you recall Vilu's fond memories?
Well, as I said, very gutsy. She was a tomboy, passionately involved in. I met her when she was on a horseback in Mahabaleshwar, and we're going to name a lot of horses after her memory, like Mahabaleshwar Memories, which I have done. And she was extremely fond of horse racing, more than almost anybody I know on course, and that is a known fact. You've also seen it yourself. And she was not only passionate because people claim to be passionate. You could see her ride at the age of 60 on a horse in China, for example, and she rode all our stallions, which are extremely dangerous, much to the shock of my brother, who would, if known, not have allowed her to ride, take a risk to her health.
Racing and your personal business would have consumed a lot of your time. Was racing your first priority or your passion?
Well, administering racing, which has been my forte for the last at least a couple of decades when I have been chairman, took away a lot of my energy and attention from Serum Institute. And now that I'm not on the helm, it's definitely helped the company tremendously. And in hindsight, I feel if I'd paid more attention to Serum than I did in the administration of horse racing and breeding, I think Serum would have been at least twice its size.
Your success, Dr. Poonawalla, has been phenomenal. What advice would you offer to young aspiring entrepreneurs?
It has to be partly in you to have entrepreneurship, vision, guts, and have the courage of your conviction to do what you believe is correct, and then correct yourself if you realize that you made a mistake, and not go on just doing what you believe is correct, but not what the others believe is correct. All entrepreneurs, the secret of their success is they have to take risks. You have to have the ability or acquire the ability, which I've made others do now, that while the deal is being proposed to you or suggestion is being proposed to you and you know it from your own experience, your mind should be quick enough to assess the situation and then at least 8 out of 10 take the right decision.
As a final word, how do you look back on your life?
Well, I'm totally fulfilled. I set out to be a committee member 30 years ago, and I at that time never dreamt that I'll head all the turf clubs, the bodies. They represent India as a sole representative of the International Racing Authority as the first Indian. So that was fulfilled. In Serum Institute also started as a very small company. Today it's a world major player, and my engineering companies which I started are also #1 in their field. I think I'm totally fulfilled.
Well, in a superb success story, when we come back from this break, we'll catch up with his son to find out how he's coping with the pressure of being the next generation. Welcome back to the Fly Kingfisher Winning Post, and moving right along, next up is Get to Know Your Pro. It's Aadar Poonawalla, the generation next in the Poonawalla family. One of the most dynamic young entrepreneurs in the racing world is Aadar Poonawalla. Along with owning a 50% share of the Poonawalla stud farm, he's also the next generation for the Serum Institute of India.
Well, I started quite early. As soon as I finished my education, I started working full-time with my father, and that's been now about 8 to 9 years. The main breakthrough came about in the early 90s when WHO recognition came. The World Health Organization approved our facilities for exports. Today we export to about 130 countries globally through UNICEF and directly to other countries. And so I would say that was the time when it really took off and we were able to export out of India.
Aadar Poonawalla is an early learner for corporate successes. His strengths are that of a seasoned entrepreneur.
Well, because of our low price, we were able to offer our vaccines at 50–60% less than what was being offered at that time. And this is mainly business done with other governments of other countries, and so this was a major factor which they recognized and applauded us for.
Aadar Poonawalla, along with his father Dr. Cyrus Poonawalla, ensured a no-frills marketing strategy and have provided the children of the world a high-quality product at low costs. Aadar Poonawalla is in fact fortunate to have a role model in his father.
Well, you know, we share at least half the day, even today, in meetings and other decisions that we have to take. And the one thing I suppose what I have learnt is his ability to take decisions on proposals where, you know, there would be a waste of time. Every day we get 10–15 proposals, and it's very important to be able to filter that and choose the right one and say no to the others at a very early stage. Otherwise you find yourself deploying resources and wasting a lot of time exploring, you know, whether this will work, whether that will work. So that's an important skill to have, and I feel that I'm you know, learning how to use that to my advantage.
And what about the future?
Looking forward, I'm trying to develop and launch a few other vaccines. We launched swine flu, H1N1. It was the first nasal vaccine, so there was no injection, no pain, no reactions, very easy to use. I've also tried to enter into private markets, which would add to our sales. We've set up offices in Russia and Argentina, in Nigeria, and you know, now there's a lot of competition as well, so we're trying to deal with that and we're trying to stay ahead of the curve. Also, another challenge is getting good human talent and scientists, the guys who would built Seeram with my father, now close to retirement, so I'm trying to build up